If you have just watched the previous video, the 9A timeout service, you may be wondering where is this service coming from. Okay, once again, I would like to remind you that this is just a beginner's course on Angular JS. So a detailed discussion will happen when we do our projects in level 2. The way we do our trainings is that we first make a real-time project. We take a project that we are working on, and then we break it down into what we need to learn. So currently we have patches which actually are making real-time projects, and there in that once we have the Angular JS introduction, the beginners course that this YouTube series is about. After that, we start working on the project, and while we do that, we also try to understand a few aspects of a little advanced aspects of AngularJS. Uh, some of these points are also available in video series, which is available only for those who have subscribed to our training, either online or to the classroom. In this video, we are going to talk about add and remove. Okay, this is a very interesting one. We have not seen such interesting stuff yet. So I'll go ahead and open it in the server, and let me open it once again. Yeah, you see that it's a very comparatively a better design right now. And the way it works is you click on add fields, you keep on adding, and if this adds another set of fields here. And these kind of stuffs are very useful when you have a user interface designed where you want the user to have a choice of how many elements you want to add, like phone numbers or addresses or the resumes. In the resumes, you have work experience or technologies. So if you have more technologies you have worked on, you can do this dynamically. Now, this can be done very easily using Angular, and here's the code for you. This is the simple HTML template, and we will see the JavaScript for that. So you can look at that. There's an app and there's a controller. The both are inside this div. So I'm making a field set that's what puts in those lines here, and then I'm using an ng repeat of choice in choices. Oh yes, now we are using combining ng repeat. So choices, for example, will be in our angular.js file, sorry, in our .js file, and we are using currently a JavaScript file named add remove control.js, right? And we are also using an add remove css file. That's what it makes our form look a little better than the usual ones. Okay, you can have a look at this css stuff and understand why it looks a little better. Now, going on to this add remove, we have choices defined as an array of objects, right? It has ID and its value. It has ID and a value. So initially, when I'm loading it, you see that I have two choices, and that's why you have two rows here. And that's where I do an iteration. When I do an iteration in my yeah, when I do an iteration here in the choices, I first have the two elements here, but it doesn't end up with there. I have add fields button, and now if you look at the add fields, I'm calling ng click add new choice. So there's a script for that, add new choice, and in the add remove control.js, I have add new choice. What does it do? I think all that it has to do is add one more element out here. To do that is it uses scope.choices, which is this one, and it is pushing because it's an array. You can push on top of it. I'm pushing and ID with choice, but notice there's a new item number. That means I want to put something like 3 or 4, not 2. So I need to count the number of items already there, and then I put in the new item number. So I will roll back to our HTML and see what is that we do to pass the new item number. See, add new choice doesn't pass anything, right? So what could be happening here is I have a new item number which comes in by counting the length of the choices that is currently there. So if in the beginning it is 2, but later on it becomes 3, 4, or 10, or 100, we take that length, it returns the value. Length is a method, sorry, length is a property of an array. You can have the array length and +1. You have a +1, that means I want to add the one after that, so it will become choice 3, right? So that's how choice 3 will work. So let us add on that. I'm adding a field. You see that ID choice 3 has come up. Now we'll go on and see how remove choice works. Like you have this remove choices. Notice that it is there in each row, right? It is there in each field set. Unlike the add fields, which is only once, it is there in everyone. And the important thing to notice here is, suppose this is the first number and this is the second number, you may notice that the values are getting populated, right? So choices was another thing to notice is choices didn't have only ID, it can also take in a new JSON property. That's what JSON is about, right? Then I go ahead and add 3. What we need to remember is when I click on this one, it should not delete the latest one. It should delete exactly this one, right? Let me add another field here. Okay, I'm deleting number 2. It should delete only 2. So how is it that we are able to tell our JavaScript, our controller, that I've clicked on the last one or the first one and something like this, right? So how do we tell that? Let's have a look at it. There's a variable called $index. Now $index comes in your in your in your ng repeat in this field set, right? In this field set, every time you repeat the index, the iteration is stored in the index. So you can tell what you are currently using. You're using $index. That means wherever you clicked, that's value. So if I'm clicking on a particular one, it says the index is 0, right? So I pass on the $index and I look into my code now. In remove choice, I just take that, and whatever it's the current length, that's the last item, right? And then however, I'm passing only the uh, index, so I'm not using last item. This line was not needed. I'm using index. So index, that whatever is being passed, I'm using the splice. Now splice is a JavaScript inbuilt function. There's nothing to do with Angular, just like push has nothing to do with Angular, right? Or length has nothing to do with Angular. It's purely JavaScript. So choice, you can read about the splice. What it does, it starts from this and it says, okay, number of elements I have to delete, right? So that's what it can do. There's inversion of splice which will add elements to it, and this will be very useful. So we can go ahead and we can add fields here and then delete a particular one. So if I say this 2, this 1, and this is 3, and I delete 2, it deletes only that because the index is being passed. More greater things are there in our projects. We were going to do real-time projects. So we encourage you to be a part of it and not lose this learning chance of working in a live project. However, this was only the beginning of AngularJS. We will do an advanced version in the classroom or in the live session, whichever you have subscribed to. Thank you for this. See you there. Take care. Bye-bye.